All right, what's going on, good people? Yours truly, Easy Deezy, one of the hosts of Chop Shop Show. This is our special March Madness episode. Returning from his vacation, one and only A.K. Rough, Greg Doss. How you feeling today, young man?
I feel my hands like I always do.
Okay,
run around here, well.
And the one and only Dane City's finest, world famous Waldo. How you feeling?
You welcome.
Okay, great. The legendary coach Tommy Tonelli is our special guest this evening. Without further ado, Torres, can you bring Tonelli in, Coach Tonelli in?
That wasn't a good enough intro for my coach, D.
Well, I'll let you do it then.
That wasn't a good enough.
Well, I apologize. You go ahead and do it.
The legendary, greatest coach in Hillsborough County history. The best point guard in USF history.
Okay.
Okay.
The one and only coach.
Chicago's own.
Coach Tonelli.
Coach
That's
Tommy
how I call
Tonelli,
Coach
man. Welcome to the show, Coach.
I apologize for that half-assed intro. Shame on me, Coach.
All know it's your fault.
So let's get into it. Welcome to Chop Shop. I'm glad to see you come out here and kick it with us today. I know you had a lot going on. What brought you to Tampa for over 40-something years ago?
Yeah, coming out of Chicago, Loyola, my high school, and Lee Rose had recruited me to come play at USF, and I really was pretty familiar with Coach Rose because he had been at Purdue prior to USF, and he had taken Purdue to the Final Four. So I really admired Lee Rose and as a coach, and that was, a big thing for me, the coach that I was going to play for in college. And that's, when it was between USF and University of Iowa and Virginia Commonwealth, and they all had great coaches.
Tom Davis.
Yeah, Lute Olson was actually.
You're right, Lute Olson. You're right.
Yeah, and then a guy named J.D. Barnett was the coach at Virginia Commonwealth. They were all great coaches, and the teams were, all doing really well. And I just felt like my chance to play and make an impact was better at USF than at the other places, and that's why I chose USF.
Okay. And getting down here, you played with two legends of the city, Charlie Bradley, and of course the late great Darryl Cooter Patterson.
Oh yeah.
How did they take you in? How did they take you in? Being from Chicago, new kid in town. How was that?
When I first got to USF, Cooter wasn't there. Charlie was there.
Right.
And Charlie couldn't have been nicer. I mean, I remember the first couple of times I played just some pickup with Charlie, and I've never seen a guy that could jump out of the gym like Charlie. I mean, he was unbelievable.
Right. And it's funny you just said about Lee Rose. I'm thinking my cousin, who's no longer with us, Derek Smith, played for Louisville, and they won the 80. So Lee Rose was the coach at Purdue at that time?
Yeah.
That's Joe Barricaro. And Iowa was in that tournament too.
Yes. Yeah.
1980. Ronnie Lester. Exactly. I still remember that Indianapolis.
So I was a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls, 8th grade all the way through high school. And that's where I met Ronnie Lester. And he actually sent me to Iowa's camp because he wanted Lute Olson to see me play.
Okay.
Ronnie kind of took me under his wing as a ball boy, and I'd be rebounding shots for him. He was rehabbing his knee, and so we became real good friends. And he, like I said, he kind of mentored me, took me under his wing, came to my high school games, and he really thought I was a pretty good player. So he actually, it's probably a violation, but he actually paid my way to go to Iowa's camp.
Okay.
Put me on a Greyhound bus from Chicago to Iowa City, and I had a real good camp at Iowa right before my senior year because they didn't have, when I played, AAU wasn't a big thing. It was going to camps at different schools, and it was really camps were the big thing, going to camp. Coaches could see you play, and if you were really interested in a specific school, you went to that school's camp. And so I went to Iowa's camp and had a really good camp, and they started recruiting me from that point on.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, were camps more local or regional back then?
Not really. I mean, Five Star was a big camp in the Northeast, and the BC camps were in Indiana and Georgia, South Georgia. And then schools, individual schools going to their camp was a huge thing. Going to the camp for an individual school, like each university, each college
Had their own
had
camp.
their own summer camp, and that was a definite way, to show somebody you were really interested by going to their specific camp.
But I'm thinking what I'm kind of intrigued by is that DePaul was good.
Right.
And
Marquette was too.
Yeah, Marquette too. And these are schools not that far from you. What made you not lean towards checking them out?
Believe me, I grew up, 10 minutes from DePaul. I used to go to their games as a little kid with my dad. And I loved DePaul. They were rolling pretty good. I mean, they were one of the top teams in the nation.
Right. I remember.
But they were recruiting Kenny Patterson and those point guards.
Right.
But honestly, I was pretty under the radar as a player. I'll be honest with you. The Chicago Sun-Times had me rated as the most underrated player in Chicago my senior year.
Okay.
So I didn't get a lot of offers from a lot of Illinois schools. Illinois State recruited me a little bit, and then University of Illinois Chicago, which actually had Ray Meyer's son, was the coach.
Yep.
And Ray Meyer had actually recruited my dad when he was coming out of high school years.
Wow.
When he was, all those years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had a teammate that was pretty highly ranked, and he was getting a lot of attention. He ended up signing with Loyola University of Chicago, who actually went to the Sweet 16, I believe, his sophomore year, when they had I forget, Carl Golston, and there was a real great scorer they had.
Was it Al Frederick Hughes?
Al Frederick Hughes, yep, that's him.
That was it.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah. And Gene Sullivan was the coach. Doug Bruno, who was the coach of DePaul's women's team, a great legendary coach. He was the assistant coach that recruited him to Loyola of Chicago. And that was 3 miles from my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. We get out, graduate in 1986. What's your plan then?
I mean, when I graduated from USF?
USF, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I knew, I always was intrigued by coaching. I knew, I'd worked a lot of camps, even as a high school and college player. I worked camps in the summer to, because I loved being around the game. I loved working with kids. It was a way to make money and feel like you weren't working.
Yeah.
You could still, but I worked a lot of camps as a camp counselor, and honestly, I was going to go to law school. I had applied to Stetson Law School and I got accepted, but I got accepted for the January session. So my first job I actually accepted was the freshman coach at Jesuit. Coach, the legendary John Spinar, had offered me a position as his coach to be the freshman coach there. And then Coach Rose had left USF in I guess late July of '86, the summer right after I graduated. Mm-hmm. And Coach Pascal, Bobby Pascal, was hired. Okay. And when he was hired, the athletic director said, "Hey, why don't you talk to Coach Pascal about being a graduate assistant?" And because I wanted to do that for Coach Rose, but he told me he was probably going to be going to the NBA and that he wouldn't have a position, But anyway, Coach Pascal, athletic director Paul Griffin recommended me to Coach Pascal. He interviewed me, and he offered me a graduate assistant coaching position. And I just told Coach Spinar, I said, "Look, this is college opportunity. I think I'd rather get my foot in the door at the college level." And he understood, and I enjoyed it so much. I never went to law school.
Oh, okay. And how long were you there in South Florida?
So I was there for 2 years as an assistant, and then I did So after you typically graduate assistant positions last, no more than 2 years, and then you either move up within the coaching staff or you look to find another coaching job somewhere else. And fortunately for me, after my second year as a graduate assistant, another position within the USF staff came open. Coach Pascal thought I had done a good enough job, and he promoted me. And then 2 years later, a full-time recruiting position, because back then they only had 2 full-time assistants that could be in recruiting positions. So again, he moved me up after 2 more years. So I was there under Coach Pascal for a total of 10 years.
Wow.
And 2 as a graduate assistant, 2 as an assistant coach, but in a non-recruiting position.
Okay.
And then the last 6, I was in a recruiting position, which I really enjoyed.
And I think South Florida went to the tournament a couple of years while you were in that capacity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My 89-90, we won the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then 91-92, we got an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, which was really, pretty amazing.
Right.
To get an at-large bid, especially at that time, there was, it was only 64 teams, and there were no last 4 in and that type of thing, no play-in games. So
Right.
We had an unbelievable team, and you get an at-large bid. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So he was on the staff when I was in the Army. They played Georgetown, Big John.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Our first year,
freshman year.
The first year at Boise, Idaho, we played Arizona. They had a great team, and ironically coached by Lute Olson.
Yeah.
Who had recruited me in high school.
Did you go to that game?
Pardon?
Did you go to that game?
I was on the bench. I was coaching at USF.
Oh, okay. I'm tripping.
Yeah, I was breaking down film and trying to come up with a game plan to stop all their great players.
Yeah, that's Sean Rooks them.
Yeah.
Now Elliott was gone, but that was Sean Rooks. I remember that.
But Brian Williams, Bushler, Matt Othick was there. I mean, they had a great team. They were ranked one of the top teams in the country. And then, 91-92, we played Georgetown. Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, they were both there.
That's crazy for them to be on the same team.
Yeah.
And that was in the first year we went to Long Beach, and then that's when we played Arizona, and then the next one was Boise, Idaho, I believe.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was the same year Loyola went crazy and Wood, Michigan in Long Beach, correct? Yeah.
Loyola Marymount, Bo Kimball.
Correct. Yeah, Bo Kimball. Yeah, the left-handed free throw. I still remember.
I was sitting right in the bleachers watching that when it happened. I was there. We had played earlier in the day. We lost. And so I was in the stands pouting, we lost. But I wanted to see,
He definitely does not like losing.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
they put on the show. So 96 comes. Warden, what year does Warden open?
So Coach Pascal stepped down from USF at the end of the 95-96 season.
Okay.
And Coach Greenberg came in, and I was one of the only assistants that had an opportunity to stay on with Coach Greenberg, but I chose not to do it. I probably should have chose to do it, but I had my own personal reasons why I didn't.
Okay.
And the athletic director, Paul Griffin, had given me the choice of staying on with Coach Greenberg and some capacity of his staff. Now, that would have been up to Coach Greenberg what position he put me in, but it was still my, if I wanted to stay on his staff, I was guaranteed, some spot on his coaching staff in some capacity. I probably should have done it in hindsight, but I didn't. But I did have an opportunity to stay and work within the athletic department at USF. So I did that for a year and was out of coaching for a year, and just realized that I really wanted to get back into coaching and stay in coaching. and that's when Wharton was opening up the school year of 97, 98. So I was out of coaching 96, 97, but Wharton was opening up in 97, 98. So Wharton, Blake, Sickles, they all opened up the same year. I actually interviewed for the Bloomingdale job. I interviewed for the Gaither job, didn't get it. Bloomingdale didn't get it. I interviewed for the Sickles job and didn't get it. They gave it to Coach Derek Gaines. I really wasn't, at the time, I wasn't interested in coaching at Blake, but I did apply to Wharton, which was actually, like 5 minutes from where I lived at the time. That was the job I wanted the most, just because of being close to where I lived.
Proximity, that's close.
Right. Yeah, and I knew the area, and I wouldn't have to move or anything.
Right.
Sickles was on the other side of Tampa from where I was living.
Mm-hmm.
So I got really, 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 really lucky and really blessed to get the opportunity to coach at Wharton.
And to meet me.
Mr. Muley hired me, and they had a guidance counselor position for me. So I was super lucky.
And in comes Terrence Woodard, known as Waldo to us.
Oh, yeah.
If you could go back, what was your first encounter of meeting Waldo?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the first year Wharton was open, you weren't at Wharton, correct, Waldo?
No, I came the first year. Well,
you were okay.
You guys had a summer league. I wasn't in a summer league.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yes. Okay. Now. Yeah. So yeah, I do remember. I'm like, I remember meeting you. You had told me you had transferred from Pasco High.
Yeah, from Pasco.
Yeah. And I remember you telling me that you had played at Pasco, and I think I said, all right, well, let's see what you got. And I said, get your paperwork in and get yourself ready for the conditioning program, and we'll see how serious you are. And we went from there.
And Waldo always said you had an extreme passion with coaching. I mean, like pseudo Bobby Knight. I don't want to make it that extreme, but they say you have an extreme passion for coaching. I'd love for you to elaborate on that.
So before you answer, I just want they know the story about the first game you had when the teachers and the principal and the staff saw you coaching on the sideline for the first time, and then we had to have a discussion the next day. So, so they just want to hear about the passion that you have for the game.
Honestly, I do. It's funny you mentioned about Bobby Knight, and I see some clips of him, and some, especially this year since he passed away, and I kind of shook my. I mean, I grew up in Chicago, so the Big Ten basketball.
Gene Katie.
Gene Katie. I mean, all those coaches. I mean, I'm
Judd Heathcote.
Judd Heathcote. Yeah, I'm definitely.
Bill Frieder.
Mike Ditka was coaching the Chicago Bears. So, to me, that's the coaching. I mean, when I was a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls, I mean, my idol as a player growing up and coaching. I mean, Jerry Sloan was the coach of the Chicago Bulls.
That's what they said. They said Sloan was tough.
Yeah, he'll fight you.
Yeah, so if you know anything or your homework about Jerry Sloan, everybody thought I was his son. I was in the locker room. I was at practices. Like Jerry Sloan, he probably had a big influence on me as a player and a coach as anybody, shaping me as a youngster growing up. And I'm telling you, and you look at his career at Utah and what he did at Utah and the way he coached, and if you read up on any stories, like that guy did not mess around, like as a player or a coach. Like him and Norm Van Leer were the backcourt for the Bulls. I mean, they were as tough as you could get,
Yeah.
But so all those coaches, all those Big Ten coaches, I mean, those were the guys. I mean, Al McGuire was at Marquette, in those years, and they had great teams. They actually beat
North Carolina.
Lee Rose was at UNC Charlotte before Purdue.
77.
He coached
77.
Cornbread Maxwell.
I remember that 77.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I read about it.
Right, they lost to Marquette in the semifinals on a real controversial ending of the game, and then Marquette went on to win the national championship. And then in 1980, he had gone to Purdue, and they played UCLA, and they lost to UCLA, and Louisville beat Iowa.
UCLA.
That's when,
Yeah.
But then shortly after that tournament ended, Larry Brown left to go, I believe, to the NBA, and UCLA had to vacate their Final Four because they were caught cheating and whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Lee Rose was a brilliant coach. Like, just that guy taught me so much about the game, the X's and O's, the strategy, the psychology of the game, and I owe a lot to him. I mean, that was really important who I played for in college, because I felt like I wanted to be a coach.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that guy was way ahead of his time. He was a brilliant coach. Genius.
Now, I wanted to ask you this, Coach, because I know you came in the last phase of the golden era of high school basketball in Hillsborough County.
Yeah.
And I believe, say, 2001 or 2, it kind of dropped off a little bit. And we went to games this year, and I mean, a lot of running clocks. The teams just don't have that fire.
Empty
No,
arenas.
I agree. It was really hard. It was really hard to watch games the last couple years, especially this year. I mean, I'm not just saying this because he's at Wharton, but I'm telling you, Sean Van Zandt, he's as good a coach, in doing things the right way, teaching players how to play the game, getting the most out of his talent and what he has to work with. And holding kids accountable to play the game the right way and have structure and break down film and just everything. Like he just kind of like, I know you remember watching plenty of film in your day playing for me, Terry. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he just does a great job. I mean, his teams play defense. They execute offensively. He tries to really analyze and break down the strengths and weaknesses of his opponents. And I think he does an amazing job. But there's a lot of coaches, very, very few coaches today that I think that go about it and approach it that way.
Why do you think
or
that
do
is,
as good
Coach?
a job? I mean, there's some really bad basketball, unfortunately. Hillsborough County.
Coach, we agree.
Said that, Coach.
We agree.
But why do you think that is, Coach? That they don't coach the same way they did when you were coaching, or even before?
There's more schools for sure. And that's kind of spread the talent out and kind of watered down the talent. There's almost 30 public high schools. There's 29.
Right.
The 30th, I think, is opening up in the fall this year.
It is.
So 30 public high schools in one county. That's a lot, not to mention, all the private schools, and there's, several good private schools, Berkeley, Jesuit, Tampa Prep, Tampa Catholic, those just to name a few,
Right.
And we worked all them.
Yep.
But I think, and this is just me, Coach, from what I've seen, I remember the 2013 team you had with the Lakeland, C.J. McGill, Sir Patrick Reynolds. I coached them. They were younger. I mean, at the Rick. But nowadays, you got kids running clock. I mean, we saw Blake play Steinbrenner opening night. Steinbrenner didn't score in the first quarter.
Yeah, exactly. There's some really, really, really bad teams, and kids for whatever reason, they're going to find a way to go play where they want to play, or be playing with the guys they want to play with. But
free agency.
It's a microcosm of what's going on in college,
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, a lot of that, especially at the public school level, is why I got out of coaching. I just kids didn't have any loyalty to stay and play for their neighborhood school, and
Say
kids, whatever.
Say that again, Coach.
We get the neighborhood school. He talks about that a lot.
Okay.
A lot of kids wouldn't really stay and play for their neighborhood school and be with the guys they kind of grew up with. And I think, I'm telling you, almost all the guys I can ever remember coaching at Wharton, a high majority of them were guys that lived in our zone or we're in the boundaries of our school. And if they weren't, they followed, the guidelines and the rules that were in place to be able to go there, and not just, the way kids nowadays seemingly end up at different schools.
But I think something with you, though, is that you led by example. You were a great leader of young men. So Definitely. I think something where a lot of kids today, we live in such an entitled society. So let's say, okay, hey, I'm a kid at Freedom. Freedom's not good, but I'm not playing at Freedom. But I'll go to Wharton and they're winning and I'm still sitting on the bench. But I can beat my chest because we're winning. That makes no sense to me. None. You got to compete. I don't get it.
You're right. I hear, you probably see the soundbite of Rick Pitino talking about kids and adversity and not being able to handle adversity. And, Nick Saban. There's nothing I love more than like studying those coaches and analyzing those coaches and seeing little documentaries and stuff that makes them tick and their philosophy on coaching. But I agree totally. Kids, don't want to be held accountable today. Kids don't want to have to fight for their position and compete, and don't want to take, maybe they have to play on the JV for a year or two before they get their varsity opportunity, because the varsity, we've had a lot of really, really, really good JV teams over the years. And because the varsity team has been so good, those guys, maybe weren't good enough or quite ready for the varsity. So they played JV, but then they got their, and JV basketball is another thing that's gotten so diluted, unfortunately, and hurts public schools, more than anything, I think, in Hillsborough County.
Yeah, there's some schools that don't even have teams.
Right, they can't even field a team.
And that's sad.
Oh,
I didn't even know that.
Brutal. It's brutal.
Of course.
Yeah, they got some boys and girls don't even have enough for a JV roster. So when they travel, it's just varsity. That's it.
Yeah, and they have 6 Saturdays. They play 2 games on every Saturday, so you get 12 games. It's ridiculous. I never missed a JV Saturday set of games, and I think they started it when the year I came back to Wharton. It was from USF, because I was at Wharton for 10 years, and then I went back to USF for 2 years under Stan Heath, and then came back to Wharton, and I think it was 2009, 2010, when we had Xavier Owens and AJ Astroth.
I remember Astroth. I remember him.
Yeah. And CJ was a freshman that year. Yeah. He came over from Benito, a neighborhood kid.
Yeah.
All those guys were right in the neighborhood. They all lived right there, New Tampa area. And, but yeah, every Saturday, JV would play, 3 teams would show up to one gym, and everybody would play each other twice. And it was a joke. It still is a joke. You remember the days, the JV would play before the varsity.
Yeah, they would play before us. 19
games, and the JV boys would play before the varsity. The varsity guys would be sitting there cheering on the JV guys, and then, after the JV game ended, the JV guys would stay and their families would stay and cheer on the varsity.
Yeah.
And me as a coach, I tried to watch every minute of the JV game I could up until, I had to go in the locker room and, do the little pregame before the varsity game. But I
Right.
loved watching those JV guys play and see them develop. We ran the same system, in the JV so that it was easy to transition to the varsity, if they were good enough the following year. And we put a lot into it. We had some great JV coaches, and I was really, the key is a key to our success at Wharton over the years and sustaining the winning tradition all started with our JV team and JV coaches and having continuity of what we did from the JV level to the varsity level.
Yeah. And also, I think as I look now, it's so many kids playing AAU, but they're not elite level talent. And that really has impacted the game, because when these kids get to high school, they really think they're good, and they're not.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, that was one of my big frustrations and why I ultimately decided to get out is kids would have more, their priority and commitment would be to their AAU program in the off season more than it would be to their high school. And again, not that I understood and I accepted the value of AAU in terms of visibility and kids being able to be seen by coaches, but and I really worked hard not to interfere with the AAU season in the spring and mainly in July. But if I had, if we had, because basically, high school, you could pretty much do stuff year round if you want nowadays.
Right.
But I didn't, it's not like I was interfering with or expecting them not to do AAU. I didn't have any problem with AAU, but I had a problem with when guys, like we usually took the month of April, and we would go maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the month of April. We'd have some workouts. And we'd have some scrimmages against other high schools, and that's all we would do on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, maybe 2 days a week, sometimes 3. We'd have a workout, we'd do some drills, get these younger guys moving up from the JV integrated to the varsity, and then we'd be able to have some scrimmages against some other Hillsborough County teams usually, or playing a spring league. And I had a big problem when a kid would tell me, Coach, I'm not coming to our workout. I've got an AAU practice or something. And I would say, well, look, let me tell you how it works here. We're going to practice, and if you're not here, then you might as well go find somewhere else to play, because this is not the program for you. And again, like we would go right after school. We'd go for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. It wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't asking them to, sacrifice anything. I mean, most AAU practices, they're not going to be right after school. They're going to be at night somewhere. And they usually only practice 1 or 2 days a week, if that, and so I didn't think I was being unrealistic in what I was asking them to do. And I didn't do anything on the weekends because I knew that's when they usually had their tournaments. And I didn't do anything on Mondays because they'd be so beat up from playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give them the day to recover and rest. And again, I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything against AAU, but you're not going to learn how to play. You're going to play. You're going to play basketball. You're going to play games. You're going to be in tournaments. You're going to be, visible in a lot of situations by coaches. But I really don't think you're going to learn how to play the game. How to be coached on, offensively, defensively, how to execute things on the half court, how to execute an out of bounds play, how to, just do shell drill defense and, just the fundamentals.
They're not doing all that at AAU.
But what's wrong with sacrifices? What's wrong with making a sacrifice?
And they're, and they're getting the, and again, I do not have anything wrong with AAU because it definitely serves a purpose. And, there's a lot of, and it is a primary tool for visibility for guys to be seen by coaches. But like you're going to learn how to play, and you're going to get prepared how to play. And at least if you're at Wharton High School, and again, nothing against anybody else, but I know our guys are going to be coached and learn how to play the right way, learn how to play the way you'd be expected to play, and the things you'd have to do at the next level. And I'm not going to name names, but I told some really, really, really good players, like, look, if you don't show up, don't bother coming. If you don't show up to practice or this scrimmage or whatever, to find somewhere else to play, because this ain't for you, and I'm not the coach for you.
He doesn't have a problem kicking you off the team.
Yeah,
or making you walk home either, right?
Perfect segue.
Can you make him walk home, coach?
I'll tell you this. The year we went to the Final Four with CJ and Sir Patrick and Jakeem Greer, Virgil Crump.
Yeah, Virgil. I've got a Virgil too.
Yeah, I mean those guys were so the summer leading into that year, there was a really, really good player. I won't mention names, but I mean he was super talented, and he was a good player. But he said, Coach, I'm not doing anything with the team in the spring. I'm not doing anything in the team with the summer. I'm just going to do my own workouts and work with my own trainer and focus on my AAU. And I said, well, thanks for letting me know. It's been nice coaching you, and you can find somewhere else to go, because you won't be playing at Wharton next year. I don't care if you're here at school or not. You will not be part of our team. So we're going to work out today. And if you're not there, then just move on. And honestly, when guys found out I said that to this guy, and he probably was our most talented player besides CJ, they were like, man, this guy means business. Like he ain't like you. And again, I wasn't, my demands, my expectations of what I expected them to give me in the offseason wasn't unrealistic. I wasn't monopolized. I didn't say he couldn't play AAU at all. I just said, when we have something as a team and as a program, you're expected to do what we're doing. And if that conflicts with your AAU, again, if I was, if it was a weekend or something, a tournament, I could work with a guy here and there, but don't just tell me you're not going to do anything with us in the offseason.
But Coach, that's life. That's life.
Right.
If you commit to do this, do this.
Yeah, and then the guys, and I'm telling you, it was like addition by subtraction. Those guys, CJ, Sir Patrick, they were all playing on AAU teams. They were all doing stuff, and but it was, like I said, it was addition by subtraction. Those guys were so bought in, and those guys knew that they better have the right commitment. And it goes back, this, Terry, from every day lining up in the circle. Before, at the beginning of practice and at the end of practice, we stood in that center circle, and my whole thing was, you better have both toes on that line, that center circle line, jump circle line, and you better be with both feet in, committed to Wharton basketball, and committed to every guy standing with their toes on that line.
I like that, Coach.
Yeah, I like that too.
I like that a lot.
Now we go get into the comedic Coach Tonelli. I'm gonna take you back. I want to say 1999.
No, it was before 99.
Before 99, holiday tournament in Dunedin.
I remember it well.
You remember it well?
I told him to walk home. I didn't care.
Okay, since you brought it up, proceed, sir.
I vividly remember it. It was, I remember being in the locker room. I remember, dealing with, your terrible attitude during the game, pouting. If I'm not mistaken, we lost the game, which probably made me even more pissed off. I just said, if you're not going to be coachable and you're not going to, buy into the team and buy into, your role and what you can contribute to the team, and do it with the right attitude, then you're not going to be part of the team. And I just said, I don't care how walk home. I don't care. You're done. You're off the team. Find your own way home. Turn in your uniform. You know.
He really made you that bad, Coach?
Oh yeah.
He can do that, huh, Coach?
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if you want to, if you want to. I mean, would you want to go to the next chapter of the story, or?
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. Because listen, this what he told me. Walter used to cut my hair, so he told me, he talked about Coach Tonelli, and he said they were playing Boca Ciega, and Jimmy Baxter was a highly touted player.
Yep.
Jimmy Baxter drew his 5th foul.
No, they threw him a lob and a backdoor lob, and I blocked it.
Okay.
But when I blocked it, I thought the ball went out of bounds, but it went over into the corner, and they hit a 3.
Okay. So
yeah, it's coming back to me.
Okay. So the guy hits the 3.
But I was standing over Jimmy
Tonelli,
Baxter.
instead of getting to the man.
Right.
So you glowed in your glory instead of playing defense.
As I always did.
So when they hit the 3, are you afraid to look at Tonelli?
I didn't have to look at him. He was coming to me. He made himself seen.
So as a sub, you heard the horn.
Yeah.
You know who you come. You know who you coming for.
Yeah.
Okay. You wasn't proud like, why you come? Oh, you come to get me? Oh, okay.
Once he hit a 3, I already knew, like,
okay,
yeah, I'm in trouble. I thought the ball went out of bounds.
Okay, so y'all go into the locker room. Y'all had the war of words, and Waldo said, yeah, he told me to walk home. I'm like, what? I said, what coach does that?
I probably said, walk your ass home.
Well, I'm glad y'all worked through that. So did the team like, hey, coach, don't leave him, coach. Don't kick him off the team.
No, I don't. Honestly, I couldn't. To this day, I couldn't even tell you how he got home. I didn't care. Like, I mean, as far as I was concerned, we were parting ways.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, that was my second year as a coach, and you know, I was pretty set in my ways. But I do remember, you know, that was a Saturday, so I think, you know, when we came back to school on Monday, and, you know, I think a couple guys, you know, maybe didn't believe I was going to stick to the fact that he wasn't, you know, that I didn't want him part of the team. And I can't remember exactly how everything went, but a couple guys came up to me and, you know, I think they said something like, you know, is there any chance for Terry to, you know, Waldo to get back on the team? And I'm like, I said, I don't think so. Not unless his attitude is going to change. Not unless he's going to be committed to playing the right way, acting the right way, doing the things we expect him to do, like anybody else.
Okay.
And I think, you know, somebody said, well, you know, what if he talked to you? I'm like, I'll talk to him, but it depends on what he says. You know?
But I think, let me jump in real quick. Your story, like you said, you played for Lee Rose, you saw Jerry Sloan. There were certain type coaches around you that did things a certain way, which navigated into you. This is what I'm doing the same thing with my kids. And this is expectations are going to be set. And if you can't meet them, I don't need you. So that's how I look at that.
I mean, we were going to be good with them, and we were going to be good without them. I mean,
okay.
We had a really good team.
He told me
we had a lot of depth. I mean, our second five could start anywhere. I'm convinced anywhere in Hillsborough County. They could be as good as almost any starting five in most of the Hillsborough County schools back there.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
I told you, D.
Yeah,
I mean, we were legitimately 10 deep, like legitimately 10 deep.
So he came and talked to you, and you guys smoothed it out.
Yeah,
maybe some laps after practice, or
no,
I don't even remember.
No, I think it was. It it took a couple days. It didn't just happen. And we might have even had played another game or two. And so I remember we did talk, and I remember telling him, look, I'll give you another chance, but I'm going to tell you right now, you better be like completely bought into the team and being coachable and having the right attitude and I'm going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, all the, even, years after that, even to this day, that was one of the best decisions I ever made as a coach in terms of, kids mess up, kids, make mistakes, kids, but I'm going to tell you, I was so proud of how he handled everything from that point forward. And two things I'll say about, how he handled things after that. I know he played in a lot of games. He came off the bench for us, and a lot of times came off the bench and made us a better team. But in our biggest game of the year, most important game of the year, district championship game at Jesuit against Jesuit, he played as good and was as instrumental in us winning that game. District championship, our first district championship in school history. Terry Waldo Woodard.
Okay.
He had the game of his life. And
he kept telling me, calm down.
So you were hyped?
Hey,
you were hyped then, huh? Okay.
One of my favorite highlights ever of Wharton basketball was that game. He was a great defensive player. A phenomenal defensive player. He could shut guys down.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he played D.
No, I'm saying that for you.
Oh, I didn't have to play D. I had to play D.
And he made a steal. He made a steal in that game, and took the ball down and just dunked it like I'd never seen him do before. And I still remember this to this day, him making that play. I've got the highlight. I can. And I've sent it to him.
Send that to us. I want to see that too.
And he made this great steal, got in the passing lane, shot the gap, made the steal, drove down. I thought he was just going to lay it in. He went up and popped it, like dunked it, like I ain't never seen him. He might have even put his other hand kind of behind his head when he.
Oh no, he got real.
But the best part I always remember too is when he went back down the court, he was pumping his arm and his elbow. He knows what I'm talking about.
Like this?
He could show you what he was doing.
Oh, okay.
Just like that. Yep.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this.
I just kind of had I had to get a little. I'm not into any of that nonsense at all.
No showboat.
Okay.
I did have a little grin on my face when I saw him do that.
Okay, let me ask you this. On a missed dunk, are you pulling the kid?
Oh, hell yes.
I told you.
Not just pulling them, but
Right.
Okay.
like pulling them, and he is gonna get like absolutely torn up.
Did you dunk when you played?
Ask Joe Colangelo.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Joe got yelled at all the time.
Did you dunk when you played, Coach?
Pardon?
Did you dunk when you played?
No, that's why I call him just a bitter non-dunker.
Okay. Now, it's funny you talking about the Wharton team. Let me ask you this. That Waldo team that lost in the late Wells against that 2013 Final Four team, who wins?
Well, the 2013, that's the thing I always say about Terry's team, the 98, 99. So our first year, we didn't have seniors. So those guys all came in as juniors or sophomores or freshmen. And so I only had them really for 2 years.
Okay.
And that's one thing I always say, if I'd have had that group for 4 years and I could have developed them over a 4-year period, like I was lucky enough to do with a lot of our really good teams, those guys could have been unbelievable. So in fairness, I only had them for 2 years, and to do what they did in 2 years was pretty amazing.
Okay.
But I think they were better than the 2013 team. The team though that I still think is
he eating that up. Okay.
the best team I still think I ever coached is the 2007 team with Sean Van Zant and Gomez and
I remember Gomez.
yeah, Van Zant, Gomez, Adam Noble, Leonard Simmons, and Anthony Manuel. Those guys were those. But again, we had those guys for 4 years. They lost to Lake Howell with Calathis and Parsons.
Oh yeah,
And Joey Rodriguez.
that's a tough. Yeah. And they beat y'all at Wharton, right?
Pardon?
They beat y'all at Wharton, right?
No. 2 years in a row, we had to play them in the regional final at Lake Howell. And
Oh wow.
Second year, the first year we lost by 30 when those guys were juniors, and then when we were seniors, we lost by 11 at Lake Howell. The gym was sold out. There were people that had tickets that they wouldn't even let in the game. That's how packed the gym was.
Wow.
People had tickets, went all the way from Tampa to Lake Howell, and they wouldn't let them in the game because it was like packed to capacity. And we lost by 11 and to go to the Final Four. And then in the semifinals, they beat Fort Lauderdale Dillard by 28, and in the finals, they beat Lakewood by 44. And we played them closer than anybody in the state that year. Anybody, the closest anybody in the state had come within was like 15 points. And we played them to 11. It was a 6-point game with 4 minutes to go, and we had a couple good looks and we couldn't score, and they were unbelievable.
That was a good team. That was collegiate.
Yeah.
Parsons went to Florida.
Oh yeah, they were both McDonald's Parade All-Americans. McDonald's and Parade All-Americans. Florida had just won back-to-back national championships, and they signed with Florida. The irony of that is when Sean Van Zant was a senior at Butler, they beat Florida. They beat Florida to go to the Final Four with Parsons and Calathis.
Yeah.
And then in the semifinals, they beat Virginia Commonwealth and Joey Rodriguez to go to the finals.
Yeah. Wow. Right. Yeah.
So
Butler came out. I remember Butler. I remember Butler.
Yeah.
Now it's funny you spoke about the Final Four teams, and I'm just going back in hindsight. The last, say, 25 years, we've had Wharton, we've had Brandon, we've had King, Blake, Jefferson. For Sickles won state.
Yeah.
Why is it that we don't compete with other schools like this past year?
Wait, Jesuit has one.
I said public.
Oh, public. Okay.
Stay with me. Public schools basketball in the state. That's Hillsborough County. Those teams have gone at different times, but this past season, outside the rural, everybody won the state title was in South Florida.
Yeah,
What is it that we can't get there?
Again, I think it's the fact that there's so many public schools in Hillsborough County. I mean, the average size of the public schools in Hillsborough County is anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500, maybe even less than 1,500. So again, I think our talent pool is spread out among so many different public high schools, and then the private high schools, I mean, they get a bunch of guys that obviously, would have or could have gone to public schools, the Jesuit, Tampa Prep, Tampa Catholic, the Berkeley Prep, they're all getting their share of kids that and all those teams, all those coaches, good coaches, good teams. the top-rated teams, majority of the time in Hillsborough County, tend to be some of the private schools, and then maybe 1 or 2 public schools out of 30. You know?
Yeah, it's just I just think it's frustrating to see other areas just dominate like they have. And when you say it's a lot of schools, South Florida has a lot of public schools too, probably double the size of Hillsborough County.
But the population probably triple.
But they're like like the bigger schools in Orlando. Orlando has a ton of great teams, and Miami, Fort Lauderdale. But their school enrollment is typically 3,500, 4,000, sometimes more. I mean, I know we had some unreal battles against Windermere and Dr. Phillips and some of those good Orlando schools over the years. Orlando,
perennial powers over there in Orlando too.
To me, Orlando has even better teams now.
Oviedo.
I think Orlando area has the most talent compared to even Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Back in the day, I think Miami and Fort Lauderdale had the best teams, but I think Orlando has taken them over as kind of the hotbed of basketball in Florida.
Now I want to ask you 2 questions. Coaching at Wharton and seeing kids travel, playing against different teams. The best player that you saw locally, Hillsborough County, that you coached against.
That I coached against?
Or you give me 2. You give me 2. If it's a 1A, 1B.
Man, I mean, the Grahams were pretty good.
Yeah, they were tough.
And truth be told, those guys wanted to come to Wharton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Their brother
their dad had contacted me about coming to Wharton, and they were living in Pasco County, going to Land O'Lakes High School. At first, they went to Bayshore Christian. Then they were living right by Land O'Lakes High School. But honestly, I was a young coach. My second year, first or second year, I didn't really even know how. Back then, they called it special assignment. I didn't even know how that worked to even tell them how they could come to Wharton, and then they ended up finding their way to Brandon, and those guys, those guys were really good, like really good.
And they would have been juniors on that team with Waldo.
Right.
I've seen
Damn.
Yep. Their older brother was in our class.
Yeah.
He played AAU with him.
And outside the area,
if you remember, Terry, we beat them at the Bayshore Christian tournament our first year. They were playing at Bayshore Christian, and then we beat them in the summer league at Tampa Catholic going into your senior year. I don't know if you remember that or not. Mm-hmm. We played them at Tampa Catholic, and they had just gotten to Brandon, and Cedric Poe was there, and a couple of these other guys. They had a bunch of transfers in, and I
remember saying Poe.
Yeah, he was a great player too. But I think the Grahams, especially Joey Graham. I think at the time he was definitely better of the 2. I mean, they both went on to be really good players, but Joey was clearly better back then. But they were great players, great kids.
And he hit a growth
spurt. I'm trying to think,
too.
Pardon?
They hit a growth spurt after we left.
Yeah. And they got into the weights. They got, they were total, like those guys would be kids I would have given anything to coach in hindsight.
And as you travel, playing teams in Orlando, Summer League, 8, whatever, who's the best player you've seen from out of the area?
Well, I mean, we played against Mount Verdi. My 2017, they had 2 losses. That they were 29-2. They lost to Mount Verdi that year, 50-30, which I know it sounds like a blowout, but 50-30 against that team was very respectable. We held them to 50 points. They were national champions that year. Mount Verdi was. They had Solomon Alibi, Dash Harris. I mean, they had 7 Division I players. They had 3 guys that were 6'10", 7'1", 7'2". We played them at a shootout in Ocala. I mean, we were right there with them. I mean, mean,
And I tell you
again,
this.
I know 50-30 doesn't sound like we were, but trust me, compared to all the other teams they played, you can go back and look up their scores. And then we lost to Lake Howell with, Parsons and Calathis. Those guys were unbelievable. I mean, Parsons, you saw what a great pro he was. Calathis played in the pros, but Chandler Parsons was probably and Shane Larkin, he was at Dr. Phillips. We played him when he was, we never did play Doc Rivers' son, but we thought we were potentially going to play them if we could. That was with Xavier Owens, and that year CJ blew out his knee his junior year when we lost to Shane
I remember
Larkin.
that.
Yeah.
And we thought we were and Shane Larkin ended up playing against Doc Rivers' son in the finals, and forget the name of the school he was at, but the Doc Rivers' son, they won the state championship that year.
Yeah, Doc Rivers' son was at Winter Park.
Right, Winter Park. Yeah,
He was at Winter Park.
And so if we'd have beaten Dr. Phillips with Shane Larkin that year, and we were down 20 at the half, and we came back and had a chance they were at the line shooting 1-on-1, and they missed the free throw, and our freshman Chase Litton got the rebound, and we were coming down with a chance to win the game. And when he got the rebound, he lost his balance and was falling down and had to throw it away before he traveled, and they got the rebound. And we ended up losing by 3. They made both free throws, and then they had fouls to give. They kept fouling us, and A.J. Astroth hit a 3 that would have tied the game, but he stepped on the sideline right before he shot it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if you remember A.J., but A.J. was a great
I remember
player.
A.J. Astroth.
Yeah.
I remember Astroth.
He went on to actually sign and play at Vanderbilt out of high school. Yeah, he was a great player.
That's interesting because Chase played football, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Chase was quarterback.
Chase played quarterback, and he went
was
somewhere and played ball, I think.
Marshall.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Chase was the first. Sean, I had 3 guys that started as freshmen and played all 4 years on the varsity and started. Sean Van Zandt was the first one, and then C.J. McGill, and then Chase Litton. And Chase Litton, I mean, he played in the NFL. I mean, he was on the practice squad for the Chiefs the year before they won their first Super Bowl. He was on the practice squad when Mahomes was a rookie, and but he was a great football quarterback and basketball, and the guy, like he I mean, football was his priority, and I worked with him around all that, but that guy would run through a wall, as a basketball player. He's a four-time district champion. I mean, CJ McGill. CJ McGill was just unbelievable. Just
a good kid.
One of the greatest kids, best. I mean, you look at Isaiah Thomas from the Celtics. He reminds me a lot of CJ. There's guys right now. I'm trying to think. There's a college player right now. There's a little guard from Georgetown, last name Mack. That's really good. That reminds me a lot of CJ. CJ was unbelievable.
And he could
CJ
shoot.
was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what's funny is that I coached at Temple Terrace at the Rec. So a lot of the kids played ball throughout the county. They played at the Rec. And CJ was like 11. And we had a 13 to 17 league, and he was like, hey, man, I want to play on your team. I'm like, man, you stop playing. You can play 12, take 10 to 12. He said, just give me an opportunity. And his mom was like, he wants to play. Shout out to Dana. And he came and worked out at 13 to 17 years. And if you remember, Andre Smith was at Blake. So he's a little older than CJ. And Andre, who played me, like, man, coach, he can go. He could go. And that was it. After that, he was a good athlete, really good athlete.
Yeah. Oh, he was just a great kid, just an unbelievable kid, just a great coachable kid, a great teammate. Everybody at school loved the kid. I mean, he could have been the mayor, I mean, and Andre Smith was unbelievable also. What another great player.
Yeah, he's at Winthrop. Now he's the over director of player development at
Yeah,
Winthrop.
he was. That doesn't surprise me. He was, that was Coach's nephew, if I believe.
Yeah, Coach Davis. Yeah.
Yep. And you could tell his IQ for the game is with his ability and the way he ran his team, his leadership, all the intangibles he had for that Blake team. But you can talk to Andre. We beat that team too.
Oh yeah. Like I said, he didn't have a lot, but they went to state. I think CJ's sophomore year.
Yeah, the Chandler boy.
Channer. Yeah, Brandon Channer. They had
It was at Blake.
They went Blake. They went to the state.
Yeah, and then Channer went to Strawberry Crest.
Right, and I'm telling you a funny story. Devin Harris, who ended up going to Jesuit, was backing up Hunter Kluntz at Jesuit.
Yep, which was a joke.
Couldn't get on the court. Wouldn't let him get on the court for that because he played at King and got cut.
I know.
Played at King and got cut. I'm talking about foolishness.
Devin Harris was as valuable to Jesuit state championship as anybody.
And I never forget, if Taylor's funny, he used to come to the barbershop and get his hair cut. But I saw him the Monday. They had just got whooped by Lake Wells. He said, man, these boys laid down on me. He said, but if we get back next year, they got to come to Jesuit, and we're going to whoop they. And right on cue, Lake Wells came over. And I tell people, Waldo said that you guys had a wild environment for home games. Yeah. At Jesuit it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it.
Jesuit at Jesuit. So our fans went to Jesuit.
Okay.
Our fans went to Jesuit.
Our fans dominated Jesuit.
Man, we had a dude doing backflips down the sideline. You remember that, Coach?
Yeah, Todd Blunt.
Yeah, exactly who it was. No, he wasn't no mascot. He was a dude that went to school. He was doing backflips. He took his shirt off and was doing backflips on the other side of the court.
They didn't throw him out?
No.
Oh wow,
man, we was going crazy in there. That's the game Coach talking about. I had a game.
Yep.
He said, "Calm down."
Todd was
calm down.
He said,
"Calm down.
Calm down. You doing? Keep playing. Just calm down."
now, let me ask you. When we get into this bracket, it's so many different subplots with this 68 or 64. Rick Pitino coaching his sixth team to make it to the tournament. The SEC has dominated the tournament. Cooper Flagg, what is he going to do? Then, we also got, the mid-majors. Yep. Izzo's back at it. Gonzaga's in the mix. What's the most intriguing thing to you with this upcoming tournament?
A lot of those things, but I definitely love. I hate to admit it because I really don't like the Gators, but they're really good.
They're tough.
I love their team. I love their pieces. I love the way they get after it. I love how they play together, how hard they play. They got three-headed monster, four-headed monster now inside with all those guys. They can rotate. Their guards are unbelievable. They got depth. They got a really good coach. I think they're as hot as anybody right now. They're playing as confident and as tough and as at both ends of the floor. I love St. John's and the way they play. Rick Pitino. I love R.J. Lewis. I remember when he played at UMass and they played against USF and he was a freshman at UMass. I'm like, man, who is this kid? And then the next thing you know, he's playing at St. John's. And I love the way they compete and get after it and how hard they play. I mean, Houston, what Coach Sampson has done with his team and his program and even Emmanuel Sharp, getting him to play defense.
He gonna let it go.
If you want
he had to buy it, he played defense. Right.
Yeah. If you want a perfect example, right there's your perfect example. Emmanuel Sharp and no doubt, prolific scorer, great shooter. And I coached his dad at USF.
I remember.
And his dad was probably one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen until I coached Darren Green. But I saw Emmanuel Sharp in high school, and I mean, again, no doubt he was talented, no doubt he could score, all this stuff, but the guy played absolutely no defense. He shot all these, crazy shots. I mean, again, he made a lot of them, so don't get me wrong, but like he other than, his ability to score, there was nothing about his game that appealed to me whatsoever.
Right.
So I was shocked. I said, "There's no way he'll ever play at Houston unless he, plays defense." And you go back and look, and you'll see, like, he did not play. Like Kelvin Sampson, he didn't care how well if you didn't play defense, if you didn't play hard, and you didn't play defense, and again. If you didn't do things the right way, he don't care. You are not going to play. You could go back and watch interviews of Kelvin Sampson, and he'll say, if you don't play defense, you have no chance to play for me. And Emmanuel Sharp hardly played at all his first couple years, especially his freshman year.
Your high school coach was like that?
Yeah.
Oh, and then also,
good guy.
you got a good segue with Janai Broom at Auburn.
Yeah,
another kid,
he was another
went
guy.
to Plant
He was
City,
another guy.
went to Tampa Catholic. Nobody really saw where he is now, and he's neck and neck with Cooper Flagg for Player of the Year, and that's crazy.
Again, he's another one. Same thing. I'll give him credit. I coached against him when he was at Plant City. I thought he was a dog. I coached against him when he was at Tampa Catholic. I thought he was a dog, and not a dog in a good way, a dog in a bad way. I thought he was lazy. I didn't think he played hard. I didn't think he competed. I mean, again, he was talented. He had good size. He could do a lot of things for his size. But like I always, I would have given anything to try and coach that kid and get him to, play at another level while he was in high school, and credit to him. I give him all the credit in the world. What he did, went to Morehead State. It was one of his only Division I offers, and then he went to work at Morehead State, and I think the coach held him accountable for things, and he's done pretty well.
Yeah, he has.
He's done very well. He's going to make himself a lot of money.
Now I want to ask you this before we go to our only break. Duke has Carolina, and you got Florida State. Who was Coach Tonelli, who was his coaching rival when you were at Wharton?
Well,
there's a game every year like, okay, this is it. This game is circled. When the schedule comes out, this is the game. Who was that for you?
Without a doubt, my first couple of years when I broke into coaching at the high school, I'd never been a head coach, let alone a high school head coach.
Okay.
And when we came in, when Wharton opened, 97, 98, we were in the district with Robinson and with Jesuit. I mean, those were two of the top teams in the area. But definitely Robinson with Desmond Allison.
Yeah, Desmond.
Yeah.
And all those great players they had.
And Scott Wages.
Right. So that was that. So
they're good friends.
From day one,
they good friends? Oh, okay.
Ask them about it.
Yeah.
If we can,
I
can
don't want to go
elaborate.
into it.
Now we're great friends, but back then he was. It was like Darth Vader. He was Darth Vader.
He run the score up on people. They would not let up.
He was in all black, and everything was black and silver, and they had an unbelievable team. He was a great coach with those guys. I mean, he had them playing. It was like I don't know if you know John Bach, the great defensive coach for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
He used to talk about Jordan, Pippen, and those guys defensively. He said they're like a pack of Dobermans. That's how Robinson was. They were like a pack of Dobermans.
And y'all beat them?
No, we ain't beating them.
No. We played them.
They ain't
tough.
run the score up on us.
Oh, okay.
We played them tight every game.
Okay.
We battled with them both times in the regular season, but and then they just destroyed us in the district championship at Blake. That was our first year. That they beat us. They just destroyed us, whooped us right off the court. But that was our growing pains. Like that's you gotta work your way up and earn your way up that way, and that's what we did. We took our licks from them, and they made us get motivated, and came back the next year and ended up beating them in a semifinal game. And
that was a game. Yeah, and it went crazy.
Yeah, and they rose. They set the bar for us, and how good. And Doug Applin was a great coach at Chamberlain.
Yeah, yes, he was. Been there for a while.
I remember one of our first big wins as a program was at Chamberlain on a Saturday afternoon game. We beat Dejan and Donald Smith.
Yeah,
they had a great team, and I remember telling our guys in the locker room, like, guys, we just beat a really good team, good program, and you'll remember this game as a turning point for us.
I got to ask Coach this. Was there a coach that you had that you coached against that pissed you off? Maybe try to do something like, try to run the score up, try to embarrass your kids, something like that.
We ain't had that, bro.
that I tried to do against them?
No, that they tried to do against you guys.
Ain't nobody running the score up on at
I'm just saying, but they
or the other way around.
No, I'm gonna ask you.
I don't remember too many times. I don't remember too many times a coach being able to run the score up.
Okay. I'm good with that. But I was just saying, you might be up 8 and they trying to still dunk, and something like that, shoot
Coach,
threes.
you never pressed the gas on anybody?
No, I was
Coach,
I was pretty good.
Let's be honest, Coach. Let's be honest, Coach. If we had an opportunity to press the gas on Robinson or Jesuit,
anybody,
you press the gas on Robinson. I believe it was the year after they had T-Let.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean,
and we pressed the gas on them.
Yeah, Robinson. The first year they handled us. I mean, they won 3 games from us in the same season, and they had lost a majority of those good players, and so we wanted some redemption, and we wanted to kind of claim our spot at the top of the hill in Hillsborough County if we could. So it was big. Like, we played them. I think we played them early in the season, and we had one of the first games of the season, your senior year, and we put it on them pretty good. Then the second time we played them, they had several guys get eligible, and they ended up beating us in that game. And so we had to play them in the district semifinals. And back then, if you lost, your season was over. There was no advancing.
Yeah, it was the top 2 teams.
Right, and we were down, double digits, and came storming back, and Terrell Ferris, who was a great player, and Danny Green. Oh, Danny Green was unbelievable.
Yeah, Danny went crazy that game. Yeah, like 20-something.
Terrell Ferris was an awesome player, and we came storming back and beat them. And in a lot of ways, that felt like the championship. But then we had to turn around and play Jesuit. Yeah.
And for me, with your body of work and the amount of talent that you have, a lot of recognition is not given to Wharton. Because you think Hillsborough County basketball, they think King, Chamberlain, Hillsborough, Brandon, because they've been out longer. But Wharton has a good body of work, great body of work.
Well, a lot of people probably don't realize this. One of the things I'm most proud of, and especially with Sean continuing as the coach, Wharton's 28 years old this year as a school. Wharton, in 28 years of existence, of having varsity basketball, Wharton has never, not once, ever had a losing season.
Damn.
Ever.
You're welcome.
That stands for something. That stands for something. That stands for a line.
That's a program, an institution.
And you look at, again, I'm super proud of Sean and the job he's done, this, the way he sustained, the excellence of the program, but more importantly, just the way he's gone about it, the way the team plays, the standards of just playing the game the right way, and developing teams, developing players, and he had a couple of key guys transfer away from him last summer, and he didn't look back. He just kept winning without him, and they were good players, guys that had they stayed, who knows what they could have done this year. And they left and went other places, and to me, they didn't make themselves better. They didn't enjoy a better experience had they stayed at Wharton for their senior year. And that's again gets back to the adversity thing.
And I think that's good that, like Waldo said, y'all got together a couple of years ago, that the kids still come back and you still have that relationship, the impact you left on them as they're older. You may have coached some of their kids. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, I always felt great when the former players came back and supported, the team and the program, and I really tried to instill that those guys were always, welcome as guys that built the program. They were always welcome. We always had a list at the door for any former players. They never, any home games they wanted to come to, they always got in free. As long as they finished out the program in good standing and handled themselves right, they were always welcome.
Y'all got season ticket. You got season ticket. You a lifer.
Yeah,
lifetime.
But it's one lady that'll be at the door that don't like it.
For real?
I don't know why. It's just
maybe it's you.
It's not me. I'm like, nah.
Okay, I'm on the list.
I'm a former player, and she. Well, I ain't talked to Tonelli this week. I'm like, what is
this
week?
It's like, right?
Yeah, it's definitely you.
That's embarrassing. She shouldn't do that. You should get her name.
I don't remember who it was. It's just one person. It's the same
I think
lady.
it might be Mr. Henderson's wife, because she's the one working.
It might
there.
be. But when I see Mr. Henderson, though, he like, hey, what's up? He good.
Yeah.
But we're gonna. I know you got to get out of here, so we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do rapid fire first. Let you go, then we'll recognize our sponsors and let you get out of here. So, if you could,
We lost his
Torres,
video.
We lost his video. Did he hang up?
I don't know. Might have hung up on his side.
He might have had a time limit.
He might have had the 8. I think he ran the 8.
There's no time limit on this.
Oh, it's not? Oh. Okay.
You can try to call back.
Okay, if you call back then. If we go ahead and recognize those sponsors real quick, get this on here if he come back up.
You can go ahead.
Huh?
With the sponsors.
Sponsors, okay. We'll go to Cigar Life first, please. Go check out my man Will D. Every show we dedicate to him. CIGARLYFE.com. Proud sponsor of the Chop Shop Show. Greg Doss, let everybody know what you got going on. Tell them about your barbershop talk and your tours you've been making, your book signings. And
Well, no book signings yet, but
No photos, no autographs.
not at all. Without a price. No,
no
I'm kidding.
face, no case.
Exactly. No, Greg Doss, GD9 Attorney Pro Se Consultants. We help people navigate the sometimes difficult journey of self-representation. We have receipts. You can check us out on YouTube at Greg Doss GD NAPSC. And every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, you can check us out on Chop Shop, which is essentially supposed to be a Q&A. It kind of got a little interesting last week because of old Ant-Man situation, but we'll do a part 2 and probably have a couple more, some unique guests joining the GD NAPC client list.
Okay. Good to hear that.
It's always good.
Then we also, give me information, man. Let me know how to get in contact with you. Website, phone number.
GDNAPSC.com. Of course, the numbers that you see, except for the 397, But when people go, anybody out there who wants to get somebody my phone number, you can. It's on the internet, which is kind of the weirdest thing.
You know what I'm saying? Which phone number to give you?
Give them the 570-9617, and
That's how they can get you.
Always, and I answer the phone.
Yeah, answer when I
Daryl
call
had me. Well, of course, 'cause I knew who he was. But Daryl also has changed our hours of operation for consults, so you might want to get in where you can fit in, and blame Daryl.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Let's pull up my man Carlos Auto Repair Center.
Uh-oh.
Talked to him last night. Now he done jumped all the way out. Auto Repair Center, 813-443-4730, 7101 North 40th Street. He riding with the
Carlos.
Magic.
Okay.
He like the Magic.
Now. Come on to us now. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause they beat the Cavaliers, so he on board with that. They beat them. Let's move
Come
forward.
all the way over
And in
to the right
the
side.
West, he like the
Late.
Nuggets and the Rockets. Hey, that's
Carlos
what's
tripping,
going on.
man.
Ain't like Golden State too. So how many teams you gonna like? But anyway, also you pull up Elevated Designs. Go check them out. 813-400-7015. We got some alumni pride prints coming out soon. Those should be ready next couple of weeks.
The University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
They're listed. They're one of them.
Had to get it
All right.
in.
And also our most recent sponsors. You can pull up
We gotta
Paul
give award-
Archer at
we
Tampa
gotta
10
give
first.
an award one for Coach Tonelli.
Okay. A Wildcat. Okay. With the rawr like that. Okay. Yeah, whatever you're turn, you pull up Tampa 10. My man Paul Archery. Go check them out. 28 years of the game. 813-408-9112. Tampa 10 shop at gmail.com. Auto Home Office. Been doing it for 28 years. Expert installer. Go check them out. Also, my good friend Calvin. Got the good body shop down there in South Tampa. Go check them out. 813-531. Torres, you got Calvin's Body Shop? No problem. 813-831-6135. 7413 South German. Tampa,
Part
Florida.
replacement.
33616. Collision repair, paint restoration, part replacement, structural repairs, minor dent removal.
Part
And also-
replacement.
Huh?
Part replacement.
Yeah, any parts.
Sound like they scratching VIN numbers off.
No, I ain't no chop
Man,
shop.
scratching- they ain't
Chop shop's
scratching.
on the show.
Okay,
That's
okay.
them.
I thought that's why they
That's them.
sponsor.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
No.
okay. All right.
No,
Shout out
no
to Calvin's.
That with the Viz. That's very related.
That's actually not a part either, but go ahead.
And last but not, and also one another sponsor, Spencer Johnson, S&C Pool Service. That's the last of our new sponsors. Go check them out. 813-802-9496. SCPoolservices.com. Pavers Reservices, supply install pumps, automation salt sifters, heat pumps, automatic cleaners, algae cleanup, acrylic deck. And Wingstop, we're going to do King's Care last, as we always do. Say the best for last. No Vanessa Williams.
Great Vanessa.
Go pull up
Forget the past.
Wingstop, 10 locations. Yeah, we're going to hit that tonight. I got to give me some wings.
Okay.
2115
Wings and
Hillsboro, 813-559-1527, 10019 North Dale Mabry, 4217 South Florida, over there by Kathleen. If you're out there about
I think it's phone.
Malibu, 14915 North Florida, way out there, old by town and country, 8436 West Hillsboro Avenue. Then we also have Pasco County, 23048 Florida Highway 54. 1219 Bruce B. Down. That's what close to Word, right? Okay. You could have went there.
Yeah. They wasn't open when I was there.
Yeah, but you'd been in it though, huh? Or have somebody buy you some wings
During lunch.
during lunch? Or just dip it
I have my
out?
own car. They had the gate open. You just got to go to your car, go to the gate, and then just come back with your food.
No.
That's it?
You weren't supposed to, but
Okay, there we
You
go.
was going to try it,
you weren't
okay.
supposed to.
All
But
right.
Hey, listen, don't ever
that's what happened.
But yeah, you expelled one.
No, they had you expelled, but you coming back to the school.
All right. The 107 South Dale Mabry, over there by the University of Thomas Jefferson.
And baby,
Dale
glad I
Mabry
came
Kennedy.
back. What you?
And the last two locations, we're at all headquarters for Wingstop, where it all started, 2776 East Fowler, and Chop Shop headquarters, 9305 North 56th
We'll be
Street.
there tonight signing autographs, and
I'll be doing security for, let
Hey,
you
man,
get
you
through.
ain't have to tell everybody how I kicked off the team, bro.
Who?
Who didn't know?
That's crazy, bro. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that, bro.
Everybody knew.
And what we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna do this rapid fire real quick. We're gonna pick our 4 teams who we got coming out the Final Four. Who gonna win?
Gonna win.
So pull up Kings Care for us, Torres. There you go. What the promo say?
Oh, we doing? Oh, okay. And I was looking at the
okay.
bracket, bro. You threw me off, bro.
My bad.
Kings Care with a K. Kings_care with a K on Instagram. For a king made by a queen. Y'all check us out. We're on Instagram. We're in the Brandon Mall, online, everywhere where you need to find us. It's on the Instagram
Beer
page.
oil.
Yeah,
Homemade.
wherever you need to find us, we on Instagram, online. Just hit up kingscare.com. Kings_care with a K. Beard oil, beard conditioner, and
Homemade.
beard wash.
Okay.
Shampoo, conditioner, and a pomade.
Okay.
So y'all come check us out. We working on other products for some locks as well. So make sure y'all check us out. Stay tuned for more products.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do it like this here. We're gonna do the South bracket first. Auburn's the number 1 team. So I'm gonna give you the top 8 seeds in this region.
I've already looked at him.
Auburn, Michigan State, Iowa State, Texas A&M. We have Michigan, Ole Miss,
They'll disappoint.
Marquette, Louisville. Who y'all got coming out of there?
Michigan State.
Michigan State, the 2. Who you got?
Crazy it sounds. I wanted to say A&M, but Yale's gonna make them work. Give me Auburn. I'll take the 1 out of that one.
Yeah, I'll take Auburn coming out of there too. And we slide down to the West. We got the Gators as the number 1. Number 2 is St. John's. Number 3 seed Texas Tech. Number 4 is Maryland. I think they got a bad rep at 4. Penny and the boys Memphis, number 5. 6
Impressive,
seed
too.
Missouri. 7 seed Kansas. 8 seed UConn, who's won the last 2 title chips.
Yeah, Memphis might lose the first round.
Who is that?
No, they're gonna
Memphis,
kill it.
Colorado State?
I'm gonna go with Florida.
Okay.
Just the meme, you won't allow that. So give me the and I actually before Coach said it, I say the Gators are good, but I just can't ever pick them to win anything.
That's ugly.
Well, I'm being honest with you. Can't take the defending champs here a little bit. Let's go with Maryland this time.
So you got Maryland coming out the West.
Yeah.
I got Florida.
Really have Florida, but yeah.
I got Florida coming out
They
the
gonna
West.
chill,
But if
too.
I got to put a sleeper, and you can try this too, I like Arkansas.
No, you don't.
Okay.
This ain't Nolan Richardson.
I'll say Nolan Richardson there.
No,
Nolan Richardson there.
no, you're not.
Right there.
So I'm drinking, hey, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm trying something.
Corley.
I definitely got to beat Kansas.
That's
I
not
got to
gonna
beat
happen.
Kansas.
Not
Okay.
gonna happen.
Well, one thing, but Tonelli teammate, the great Cooter P, can't call this sick. Game got to be played.
Long way from here, huh?
Long way, absolutely. That's going to be in Providence, yeah. Long way from here.
Won't be Duke. So go ahead.
Exactly.
Won't be
So
Duke.
East we got Duke, Alabama's the 2, Wisconsin the 3, Arizona's the 4, Oregon's the 5th, BYU 6.
Alabama.
They got St. Mary's at 7, Mississippi State at 8.
Alabama. Oh, you went Midwest. My bad.
East.
We're in the East now. We're at top.
No.
I'm over here on this side, top.
Give me Alabama.
Okay, you got Alabama. Who you got?
I want to go with Duke, but I don't know what Cooper Flag got going on.
Yeah, it won't
I'm gonna
matter.
try. I'm gonna try Duke, but if I had to try a sleeper, I like Arizona.
I looked at them at first too,
I like Arizona.
but you know
And
what? You know what I don't like?
What?
At number 4.
I don't say
Arizona, Akron.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin number 3.
No, but they're from
But
before.
I
See,
go
you
with
know,
Duke.
13,
Cooper
14.
Flag playing. Cooper Flag gonna play.
Flat, he playing Friday.
And what is Akron? Tell me what they are.
Give me Duke then.
But they're what?
Underdog.
Mid-major.
Yeah, mid-major.
Okay.
Hey, Mac.
Okay, give me Mac.
Okay.
Give me.
And then
That's my upset right there. Come on,
Okay.
out the gate.
in the Midwest, the top 8 seeds. Houston's the 1. Tennessee's 2.
I'm riding with Tampa's
3.
own Manuel Sharp.
Okay. 3 Kentucky, 4 Purdue, 5 Clemson, 6 Illinois, 7 UCLA, 8 Gonzaga. Well, I got to pull for Georgia, but they ain't got enough to beat Houston. I do like Tennessee coming out this bracket.
You know, we actually got 3. Other than the fact that I didn't pick them, we have 4 SEC teams in the 4.
Well, I got Tennessee, Duke,
I only got
Florida,
one.
and Auburn.
I only got one.
Okay. What you got?
How you? I got 3. And
I got 3 too. I got 3 too.
The only reason I don't have 4 because I couldn't take the Gators. I think they're gonna win the chip.
That's the only team.
I got Florida beating Duke. I got Tennessee. No, I got Florida beating Auburn. Then I got Duke beating Tennessee, and I got Florida beating Duke for the chip. So you heard it here first.
So you got Florida beating Tennessee?
Florida beating everybody. Duke beating Tennessee in the 4.
Yeah, I took Maryland, but if I was gonna put my money on there, you're gonna have Florida, Auburn,
And what you got on your perfect sheet?
Alabama, and Tennessee. That'd be ugly, wouldn't it?
Michigan State losing to Florida.
Okay. Roll Tide Houston.
Nah. Yeah, Florida probably beat Houston in the chip.
Okay.
These Houston gonna play some defense, but Alabama.
Well, they got games tomorrow night. Alabama State kickoff. They got I forget who they play. Alabama State go out tomorrow. HBCU. So I got to show love to them. Shout out down there in Monkey Town. Hope they do business. Speaking of basketball, we got
Francis.
girls champion from Bloomingdale, Khalees Salter, coming to kick it with us tomorrow. Next Monday. That's the 99th episode. So 2 weeks from a hundo. So
You think Tonelli gonna come with us?
he's invited. Definitely
he's
invited.
invited.
Definitely invited. You come hang out. Kick it a little bit. So Greg Dawson, you laying low this week?
I'll be here.
Okay. Torres, you laying low this week? Just taking it easy? I know they worked you a little bit this week.
I wish.
Feeling better? Okay. Dave said it. Big back at it Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday we up and running, man. So
Saturday.
we gonna let you know.
Yeah, Big Back Barbecue.
We gonna let you know the location.
Location.
Man. Still
Yeah.
stay tuned for the
Never
location.
tell you how Jakey he do me. I go
If you
grab
ain't
some
got no money,
food.
say that.
I grab some
If you
food.
ain't got no money, say that.
Hold up.
You need money tonight?
Okay.
I want to leave.
I don't have
He
cash
called
app.
big. He
I
called
don't have
big.
cash app. No, I didn't call big. I don't have cash app.
So you ain't called big.
Lisa,
Please
send the money to Waldo. Okay. So now I got my food. He said, "No, my lady ain't told me that you done paid yet." So now I got to call her for her to log in and confirm my payment, and then he'll let me leave.
Okay.
Like my boy said in Business Society, when Kane pulled up on him, we supposed to be brothers.
Yes, bro. We take card too,
Man,
though.
you trying to get a shot in here?
All right, so we back
take
in
cards.
today.
and order me a.
With cheese. You almost
Y'all
got
said with
killed.
cheese.
Yeah. So yeah, without further ado, man, y'all be good. Have a good week. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
Keep God first. Love your family. When you see us, holler. Good night. Thank you, Torres. What time did Leah start?